VH1 has done the unthinkable, doors slammed shut, security on high alert, and fans left reeling as the world watches the chaos unfold. Tonight, Yandy, the queen of revelations, steps into the spotlight with a truth so explosive it threatens to unravel everything you thought you knew about the show. Emotions ran high from the very first moment, with cast members pacing, whispering, and glancing over their shoulders as rumors swirled like wildfire. The tension was palpable. Every corner of the studio seemed to hum with anticipation. Every eye fixed on Yandy as she prepared to speak. Nobody could predict the storm about to hit. People deserve to know the real story, Yandy said, her voice steady but her eyes flashing with intensity. The room fell silent. Even the crew, used to drama, held their breath. Fans are shocked. Social media erupted instantly, and the family was left divided. Allegations that had been simmering for months suddenly boiled over, exposing betrayals, secrets, and rivalries that no one expected. Whispers of secret alliances and hidden motives buzzed through the halls like electric current. Every cast member's reaction told a story: anger, disbelief, fear, and an undeniable sense of betrayal. And then, the first bombshell dropped. Yandy revealed information that changed the game completely. Pointing fingers, confirming suspicions, and shattering the carefully constructed facades. Accusations flew, tempers flared, and in the middle of the chaos, old wounds reopened. "How could you keep this from me?" one voice shouted, echoing through the studio, while another muttered under their breath, "This changes everything." You could feel the weight of the truth pressing down on everyone, leaving no room for denial. Every fan watching at home felt it too. This wasn't just another episode. This was the moment that could end it all. Stay with us, because what happened next is a roller coaster of emotion, confrontation, and shocking revelations that will leave you questioning loyalties and wondering who, if anyone, will come out unscathed. The stage is set. The doors are locked. And Yandy has the mic. Are you ready to witness the truth that could destroy everything? The tension in the studio was suffocating, thick enough to touch. As Yandy's words lingered in the air like a storm about to break, every eye was fixed on her, every ear straining to catch the next revelation, and every heart pounding in anticipation of a truth long whispered about but never confirmed. The room, usually buzzing with rehearsed chatter and camera cues, had transformed into a battlefield of emotions, where loyalties were questioned and every glance carried the weight of suspicion. "I can't stay silent anymore," Yandy began, her voice calm yet layered with the kind of intensity that made the walls tremble. "People need to know what's really been happening behind the scenes, the things that have been hidden from you, from all of you." A collective gasp rose from the cast and crew, some stepping back instinctively, others leaning in, craving every word, unwilling to let a single syllable escape unregistered. Cameras rolled relentlessly, capturing each twitch of an eyebrow, each flicker of shock. As the first whispers of betrayal began to ripple through the air, emotions ran high, some crying silently, others shaking in anger. And fans watching live could feel the energy even through the screen. "You're saying what I think you're saying," someone whispered, a voice quivering, a tension-filled mixture of fear and disbelief hanging on every syllable. Yandy's eyes scanned the room, lingering on each face for just a moment too long, letting the weight of her gaze settle, letting the anticipation build. "Yes," she said finally, her tone unwavering. "I'm saying that some of the alliances, the so-called friendships you've all witnessed, were built on lies, manipulation, and secrets that someone desperately wanted to keep buried." There was a pause, pregnant with suspense, and the room collectively held its breath. A ripple of murmurs started, spreading like wildfire as cast members exchanged horrified glances, realizing that everything they thought they knew might be false. Constructed narratives meant to deceive, cover, and control. Behind the cameras, the crew felt the air shift. They were witnessing not just drama for the cameras, but raw, unfiltered human conflict spilling into the open with consequences no one could contain. Fans across social media erupted, hashtags trending instantly, some praising Yandy's courage, others expressing shock, some speculating wildly, others trying desperately to piece together fragments of what had just been revealed. Comments poured in by the thousands. "This is insane, I can't believe this. Yandy just dropped the mother of all truths, and the family is officially divided." Meanwhile, in the studio, the cast members were no longer restrained by politeness or professional decorum. Accusations flew like bullets, sharp and merciless. "How long were you planning to hide this?" one voice demanded, trembling with rage. "I trusted you," another shouted, almost crying. "And you lied." Yandy held her ground, letting the storm unfold, letting the confrontation spill over, understanding that the truth could not be softened, could not be delayed. The revelation had power, and power came with chaos. What Yandy revealed next was something no one could have predicted. She had evidence, messages, photos, and confessions that implicated key players in a series of betrayals that spanned weeks, months, even years. The room seemed to shrink as the weight of her revelations pressed on every shoulder, every heart. I didn't just hear about this, I lived it, documented it. And now you're going to hear it too, she said, her voice carrying both authority and the slightest hint of vengeance. The first shockwave hit the room when a name was called. A prominent figure in the cast, someone who had always appeared untouchable, invincible even. You knew about this all along, didn't you? Yandy asked, locking eyes with them. The accused flinched, a subtle, telling reaction that did not go unnoticed. I didn't think it would ever get out, came the stammered reply, followed by silence thick with tension. Emotions ran high, tempers frayed, and the once cohesive group began to unravel before the eyes of everyone present. The audience watching online could almost feel the crack forming in what had seemed like a solid foundation. The very walls of the show, shaking under the weight of hidden truths. Then came the confrontation. Voices overlapping, words shouted, tears flowing, and the air practically vibrating with raw emotion. You betrayed all of us, one cast member screamed, pointing fingers with a ferocity that stunned even the most seasoned crew members. All these months, we were fools, thinking we could trust you, another chimed in. A mixture of heartbreak and rage spilling out. Yandy remained composed, letting each accusation land, letting each confession be revealed. Her presence was commanding, a calm amidst the storm. As she delivered truth after truth, detail after detail, unspooling the tangled web of lies that had ensnared everyone. Cameras captured it all, the glares, the gasps, the quiet sobs, the frantic whispers behind closed doors, creating a tapestry of drama that would captivate viewers long after the episode aired. As the intensity escalated, alliances shifted visibly. Friends turned into adversaries in seconds, murmurs of betrayal became open arguments, and even those who had been silent until now found their voices. I can't believe I defended you, one exclaimed, shaking with disbelief. I thought we were on the same side, and all this time, you were plotting against me. The studio seemed to pulsate with tension, each heartbeat echoing the chaos. Even production staff felt the magnitude of the moment. Cameras rolling uncontrollably, capturing every glance, every tear, every drop of sweat, as if documenting a historic collapse. Fans commented in real time, some cheering, some crying, some begging for explanations. The energy was electric, nearly tangible, as though the truth itself had become a physical force sweeping through the room, sparking confrontation and exposing vulnerabilities that had never been visible before. Midway through the revelation, Yandy paused, letting the impact of her words sink in. The room was silent, save for the occasional sniffle or shaky breath. And then, in a move that no one anticipated, she revealed a secret alliance, one that had manipulated events from behind the scenes, pulling strings, orchestrating conflicts, and keeping the rest of the cast in a carefully constructed illusion. You think you knew who your friends were, she said slowly, letting each word linger. But the truth is, some of the people you trusted the most were writing the script all along. Shockwaves rippled through the group. Some people sank into chairs, unable to process the enormity of what they were hearing, while others leaped to their feet, anger overtaking disbelief. I can't believe this, one whispered, almost to themselves, staring blankly at the floor. It's unreal. As arguments spiraled and tears fell, a few moments of confrontation turned intimate, personal, even vicious. Long-held grudges were aired, past mistakes were dragged into the light, and grudges that had been simmering quietly for years erupted with the force of a volcano. Yandy's revelations acted as a match, igniting every ember of resentment, jealousy, and betrayal that had been kept in check by polite smiles and careful silence. You think I forgot what you did? One voice yelled across the room. You lied to me, to all of us, and now you want sympathy. Another voice shot back. Sympathy? I don't need your approval. I need the truth out there. The air was thick with tension, and every word spoken seemed to further unravel the already fragile network of trust. Even as the storm raged on, some attempted to mediate, trying desperately to calm the room and regain some semblance of control. Listen, let's all just take a breath, a voice pleaded, but it was too late. The emotional momentum had taken over, and reason was drowned out by raw, unfiltered human reaction. Fans at home were glued to their screens, captivated by the intensity, discussing every moment in real time, dissecting every line of dialogue, every expression, every tear. The episode had become more than entertainment, it had become an event, a collective emotional experience where viewers felt the tension, the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the exhilaration as though they were in the room themselves. The final moments of Part 1 were a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Yandy had dropped bombshell after bombshell, accusations had been hurled, and alliances had visibly cracked. Tears, screams, gasps, and whispers filled the air, each adding layers to a drama that seemed almost too intense to believe. Fans were shocked, some turning off the stream in disbelief, others unable to look away. The cast, once composed, was now fractured, raw, and exposed. Secrets had been revealed, betrayals exposed. And the first chapter of this explosive saga ended with the room still buzzing, hearts racing, and the question on everyone's mind: what comes next? The truth had been delivered, but the fallout had only just begun, and no one could predict where it would lead. The tension that had gripped the studio at the end of the first wave of revelations carried over into what would become an even more chaotic storm. As the room attempted to absorb the initial truths, Yandy, sensing the raw vulnerability and heightened emotions, decided it was time to go deeper, unearthing layers of deception that no one had dared to confront before. "There's more," she began, her voice calm but threaded with an intensity that made even the boldest cast members falter. The murmurs began immediately, whispers spreading like wildfire. "What else? What else is she hiding?" Each word Yandy spoke seemed to cut through the thick tension, each revelation acting like a hammer striking against fragile walls of trust. "I've seen messages, I've seen actions, I've seen what's been carefully concealed. And it's time, it's out in the open," she continued, letting the room digest the weight of her statement. Eyes widened, jaws dropped, and the atmosphere turned almost unbearable as Yandy began naming names, recounting events, and revealing alliances that had operated in secret for months. Every accusation landed with precision, some cast members flinching visibly, others visibly trembling, while a few tried desperately to maintain composure, knowing that any slip would betray the shock that rippled through their carefully constructed personas. "You were in on it," Yandy said, looking squarely at one of the most influential members of the cast, "manipulating situations, making us fight, and keeping everyone off balance." A stunned silence followed, only broken by a shaky exhale or a whispered denial. Emotions ran high, some crying quietly, others shaking with frustration and betrayal. And every fan watching at home could feel the tension radiating through the screens. The situation escalated when Yandy introduced proof she had painstakingly collected over weeks: screenshots, video clips, and audio recordings that corroborated her claims. "I didn't want to believe it either," she admitted, "but the truth doesn't lie. And neither will I." The room was filled with a mixture of disbelief and outrage, cast members pointing fingers at each other, some shouting, others retreating to corners, unable to face the unfolding chaos. "How could you do this to us?" one voice yelled, shaking with rage. "We trusted you, and this is how you repay that trust." Yandy's gaze remained steady, her presence commanding the room as the emotional turmoil intensified. Fans erupted online, the hashtags trending, and social media feeds flooded with shock and speculation. "The truth is out," one fan commented, "and the family is officially divided." Then came the first major confrontation of Part 2, an explosive argument that no one saw coming. Two key members, previously thought to be allies, turned on each other in a public display of rage and heartbreak. "You set me up," one screamed, pointing a finger directly. "I thought we had each other's backs." The other countered, voice rising, "We did, until you betrayed me first." Yandy stood to the side, letting the confrontation unfold naturally, understanding that raw emotion carried more weight than rehearsed statements. Cameras captured every gasp, every tear, every tremble, creating a spectacle that would captivate viewers far beyond the studio walls. The energy was electric, every word exchanged a spark, every expression a trigger, and the emotional fallout was immediate. As the tension continued to rise, some cast members attempted to strategize, whispering in corners, forming temporary alliances to protect themselves from the emotional onslaught. Rumors flew fast, half-truths mingled with complete fabrications, and the atmosphere became a volatile mix of fear, anger, and desperation. "We need to stick together," one whispered, eyes darting to the cameras, "or we're done for." Another voice shot back, "Stick together. After everything that's been revealed, there's nothing left to stick to." The arguments spilled over into personal grievances, long-held resentments, and hidden secrets, creating layers of drama that seemed to twist and turn with each revelation. Fans online dissected every detail, theorizing about what might come next. Who was telling the truth, and who was being manipulated? The breaking point came when Yandy revealed a secret financial betrayal, an underhanded scheme that had affected multiple cast members and fans alike. Gasps filled the room, some falling to the floor in shock, others screaming in anger. "You didn't just lie to us," Yandy stated, voice rising over the chaos. "You used our trust to manipulate outcomes, gain influence, and control the narrative. Everything we thought we knew was just a part of the plan." The revelation sent the studio into a frenzy, tempers flaring as arguments erupted on every side. "I can't believe this," someone shouted, while another voice muttered, "We were pawns in someone else's game." The room became a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, tears, anger, and despair. Each reaction feeding into the next, escalating the drama to levels beyond anything previously seen. As the night wore on, the drama shifted from public confrontation to private confrontations. Cast members pulling each other aside to voice grievances, demand explanations, or seek reassurance. "I need answers," one said, eyes blazing, "and I need them now." Another shook their head, whispering, "I don't even know who I can trust anymore." Yandy moved among them, guiding the flow, letting the conversations happen, and ensuring that no detail went unspoken. The room was electric, each exchange a new revelation, each glance a window into fractured alliances. Fans at home could feel the tension as if they were physically present, the drama unfolding with a reality that blurred the line between performance and truth. Then came the twist that nobody anticipated, an unexpected confession from one of the quieter, more reserved cast members. Their voice, usually calm and measured, cracked with emotion as they revealed a secret so personal it added an entirely new dimension to the chaos. "I've been keeping this to myself," they admitted, "because I was scared of the fallout. But now, it's time everyone knew." The revelation shocked the room, sending ripples through every alliance, every friendship, and every perception of trust. "Why now?" someone demanded, voice sharp. "Because the truth has to come out," came the reply, steady despite the trembling hands. The confession added depth to the already complex drama, layering the conflict with personal stakes and emotional vulnerability that made the room feel like it could collapse under the weight of tension. As part 2 progressed, arguments turned into heated negotiations, apologies mingled with accusations, and every interaction carried the weight of high stakes. Yandy orchestrated the sequence carefully, letting the emotions flow freely, capturing moments of raw humanity that no script could have anticipated. "We've been blind," one member whispered, shaking. "Blind to the manipulation, blind to the lies." Another voice echoed, "And now we're paying the price." Fans online were glued to every update, some celebrating the exposure of deceit, others mourning the apparent disintegration of trust. Social media exploded with debates, theories, and speculation about who would survive the fallout and who would crumble under the pressure. Even as tempers flared and emotions ran high, a few moments of reconciliation emerged, brief and fragile, like sparks in the midst of a storm. "I didn't want this to happen," one admitted, eyes wet. "Neither did I," another responded softly, their voice barely audible over the tension. These fleeting moments, however brief, added a layer of complexity to the unfolding drama, showing that even amidst chaos, humanity and connection persisted. But the overarching feeling remained one of uncertainty and suspense, as everyone in the room and everyone watching realized that nothing would ever be the same again. The truth had been revealed, but its consequences were only beginning to unfold, and the next chapter promised even more shocking twists, betrayals, an emotional upheaval that would leave both cast and fans questioning everything they thought they knew. The studio barely had a moment to breathe before the next wave of chaos struck. The confessions and accusations from the previous confrontations had left everyone on edge. Yet Yandy, with a calculated calm, prepared to unveil yet another layer of truth, one that would shake the very foundation of trust within the group. "What you've heard so far is only the beginning," she said, her voice slicing through the tension like a blade. Murmurs filled the room instantly, eyes widening, some faces palling as everyone realized that the storm was far from over. "There's more things that some of you thought were buried, hidden, or forgotten," she continued, "but I've got the evidence, and it's time to set the record straight." The silence that followed was suffocating, almost reverent, as if everyone knew that the next revelations could irreversibly change the dynamic forever. Suddenly, Yandy held up a set of documents, each one detailed, time-stamped, and impossible to ignore. "These," she said, her tone measured but piercing, "show every manipulation, every secret plan, Every betrayal that has been orchestrated behind your backs. A collective gasp echoed through the studio. You're kidding, one cast member shouted, disbelief tinged with anger. Another muttered under their breath, I can't believe this is real. Cameras caught every flicker of shock, every tightening jaw, every tear that escaped as the weight of her revelations sank in. Emotions ran high, as accusations turned to confrontations. And the room seemed to vibrate under the intensity of raw human conflict. Fans online were already exploding with theories and reactions, hashtags trending with every revelation. The studio drama spilling into living rooms across the world in real time. The first bombshell came when Yandy revealed collusion between two prominent cast members. A partnership hidden in plain sight. You think you were smart, she said, eyes narrowing, but the truth always finds a way out. The accused shifted uncomfortably, trying to muster a response, but the room was relentless. Every gaze loaded with suspicion and judgment. We trusted you, one member yelled, voice cracking, while another whispered, I knew something felt off. The emotional stakes were at their highest, with friendships and alliances visibly crumbling, leaving a trail of resentment and heartbreak in the wake. Yandy, however, remained composed, letting the reactions unfold naturally, allowing the raw emotion to play out as she unveiled truth after devastating truth. The next revelation shook everyone to the core. Yandy produced audio recordings, capturing conversations that had been carefully concealed, exposing secret plots and covert discussions meant to manipulate outcomes and control narratives. You weren't just hiding things, she said, voice steady, you were orchestrating drama, controlling perceptions, and betraying those closest to you. Screams erupted, some people pointing fingers in rage, others sinking to their knees, overcome with shock. How could you? One cried, tears streaming down their face. We were family. Another voice shouted, family, you've been playing games with all of us. The room had descended into chaos, emotions running unchecked, with arguments spiraling and whispers of revenge spreading like wildfire. Fans watching online were glued to their screens, commenting furiously, debating every detail, and speculating on what would happen next. In the midst of the turmoil, Yandy's attention shifted to a quieter cast member who had been mostly silent up until this point. You've stayed in the shadows long enough, she said, her eyes locking onto theirs. It's time the world knows your role in this. The individual's face drained of color, hands trembling slightly. I didn't know it would go this far, they stammered. I thought I was just protecting myself. Protecting yourself? Yandy shot back, voice sharp. You endangered everyone, and your silence made you complicit. Gasps and murmurs filled the studio as the quiet member finally broke down, revealing the truth about their involvement in events no one suspected. Emotions ran high, some crying, some shouting, others simply staring in stunned disbelief, as yet another layer of deception unraveled. Tempers flared when past grievances surfaced, intertwined with Yandy's revelations. Old arguments that had never been resolved erupted violently, reigniting bitter rivalries. You think I forgot what happened last season? One member screamed, slamming a fist against a table. You lied to me, you manipulated everyone, and now you act like nothing happened. Another voice shot back, we all lied, we all manipulated, stop pretending you're innocent. The room became a cacophony of shouts, sobs, and gasps, with each confrontation adding fuel to the already raging fire. Cameras captured every moment, freezing expressions of anger, shock, and betrayal that would captivate fans for weeks to come. As the night progressed, alliances shifted visibly, former friends became enemies, and whispers of betrayal turned into heated accusations. We can't trust anyone anymore, one member muttered, pacing back and forth. Everyone's hiding something. Another voice, trembling with emotion, added, I don't even know who I am in all of this. Who can I believe? Yandy, observing the shifting dynamics, allowed the tension to escalate, knowing that every reaction, every tear, every scream contributed to the ultimate unraveling of the drama. Fans online dissected every detail, debating motives, alliances, and the potential fallout from each shocking revelation. The studio had become a pressure cooker of emotion, with the heat rising steadily, threatening to explode at any moment. The next twist came when Yandy revealed a betrayal involving one of the closest friendships within the cast. You thought your secrets were safe, she said, holding up a piece of evidence that seemed to freeze the room in place. But I've been watching, listening, documenting, and now, everyone will know. The accused's face went pale, their hands shaking, unable to form words. This can't be happening, they muttered, voice barely audible over the cacophony. It's happening, Yandy replied, her calm demeanor only intensifying the storm around her. The revelation sent ripples through the group, creating new conflicts, deepening old wounds, and forcing everyone to reconsider who they could truly trust. Even as confrontations intensified, brief moments of vulnerability surfaced. Cast members admitted to mistakes, confessed fears, and tried, however unsuccessfully, to reconcile past wrongs. "I didn't want it to come to this," one whispered, eyes wet with tears. "But I can't hide from the truth anymore." Another replied, voice shaking, "Neither can I. But it's too late for apologies now." The tension, however, remained unrelenting. Each revelation and confession adding complexity to an already explosive situation. Fans were captivated, glued to every update, watching as friendships disintegrated, alliances were tested, and the truth threatened to consume everyone in its path. By the end of Part 3, the studio had become a battleground of emotions. With Yandy at the center, guiding the chaos, revealing the lies, and exposing betrayals that no one had anticipated. Cast members were emotionally drained, some shaking with anger, others sobbing quietly. While the audience, both in the studio and at home, felt the intensity as if they were experiencing it firsthand. Alliances had shifted, loyalties had been questioned. And the question on everyone's mind, both in the room and online, was the same. How would this story end? The fallout from Yandy's revelations was only beginning, and the next wave promised even more shocking twists, confessions, and confrontations that would push everyone to their limits, leaving no one untouched by the truth. The chaos from the previous revelations had barely settled when the next wave of confrontation erupted, this time hitting harder than anyone could have anticipated. The emotional atmosphere in the studio was almost tangible, thick with tension, anger, and anticipation. Yandy, standing at the center, took a deep breath, knowing that the most explosive truths were yet to be revealed. "You thought you could hide everything," she said, her voice calm but carrying an edge that sliced through the room. "You thought we wouldn't see it. We wouldn't know, but the truth always comes out." Murmurs spread like wildfire as every cast member exchanged uneasy glances, the realization dawning that the night was far from over and that the worst was still ahead. Then came the first major twist of this segment, a long-standing secret, one that implicated several key figures in the show's history, was revealed. Yandy presented documents, photos, and text messages, each piece carefully curated to expose lies, manipulation, and deception. The room fell silent, eyes wide, mouths agape, as cast members slowly processed the enormity of the revelations. "You've been working against us all along," one voice finally broke the silence, trembling with anger. "You were controlling everything behind the scenes while we thought we were in charge." Yandy's gaze remained unflinching, allowing the words to settle, letting each person feel the full weight of betrayal. Fans watching online reacted instantly, flooding social media with shock, disbelief, and rampant speculation. The tension escalated further when accusations turned personal. Old grievances, long simmering beneath the surface, came to light, intertwining with Yandy's revelations and creating a volatile mix of anger and heartbreak. "Do you remember what you did last season?" one cast member shouted, face red with fury. "You lied, you manipulated, and now you want to act like none of it happened." Another voice shot back, trembling with rage. "And you think you're innocent? You played your part just as much as anyone else." The studio became a storm of overlapping voices, cries, and accusations, each interaction pushing the emotional energy higher. Cameras captured every tear, every gasp, every shaking hand, creating a visual tapestry of chaos that enthralled viewers at home. Just as it seemed the conflict could not escalate further, Yandy dropped another bombshell. "There's more than just alliances and manipulation," she said, holding up a folder that had everyone leaning forward. "Some of the decisions made were meant to protect reputations, to keep the cameras rolling, but in doing so, lives were affected." The revelation hit like a tidal wave. Some cast members recoiled, whispering in disbelief, while others leaned into the chaos, eager to hear every detail. "You're telling me this whole time, we've been acting in a lie?" one member asked, voice shaking. "Yes," Yandy replied, calm yet commanding. "And now the truth is out, whether you like it or not." The atmosphere shifted as Yandy began revealing covert conversations that had been taking place in secret. Recorded snippets exposed conversations where cast members plotted strategies, gossiped about allies, and even fabricated scenarios to manipulate outcomes. "You were orchestrating drama behind our backs," one member accused, voice cracking with anger. "We thought we were making decisions together, but you were controlling the narrative all along." Another shouted, "I can't believe we trusted you." The room became a whirlwind of conflict, with alliances breaking apart in real. The emotional stakes were higher than ever, each confrontation leaving the participants more exposed, more vulnerable, and more entangled in a web of deception. Yandy's revelations didn't stop at manipulation and lies. She exposed financial betrayals, showing how certain cast members had profited from situations at the expense of others. Gasps and murmurs filled the room as individuals absorbed the implications. "We were being used," one whispered, voice trembling. "All this time. For what? To line someone's pockets." Another voice shouted in disbelief, "I can't believe this is happening right now." Fans watching online were equally shocked, flooding social media with reactions, memes, and debates. Every revelation added fuel to the fire, deepening the drama and ensuring that viewers were hooked, unable to look away. Amid the chaos, personal confrontations emerged that no one could have anticipated. Long-standing friendships fractured as members turned on one another. Old grudges reignited, and unresolved conflicts came to the forefront. "I thought I could trust you," one cried, voice breaking. "And you betrayed me in the worst possible way." Another shot back, "Don't act like you're innocent. We've all made mistakes, but you crossed the line." The emotional intensity in the room was almost unbearable, with tears, screams, and whispered apologies blending into a cacophony that seemed to shake the very walls. Yandy, observing carefully, let each exchange unfold naturally, knowing that the drama was most powerful when it erupted organically. The night's tension reached a peak when an unexpected confession came from one of the quietest cast members. Someone who had largely stayed in the background until this point. Their voice, usually calm and reserved, cracked with emotion as they admitted to involvement in a secret plan that had influenced several key outcomes. "I didn't know how far it would go," they confessed, voice trembling. "I thought I was protecting myself, but I see now that I hurt everyone instead." The revelation stunned the room, adding another layer of complexity to the already chaotic scene. "How could you do this?" someone demanded, anger and disbelief mingling in their voice. "We trusted you." As Part 3 drew to a close, the studio remained in a state of emotional upheaval. Yandy had exposed manipulation, deceit, and betrayal on multiple levels, leaving cast members emotionally drained, some in tears, others in outright anger. Alliances had shifted dramatically, trust had been broken, and the questions of who could be relied upon lingered like a shadow over every conversation. Fans at home were riveted, commenting furiously, analyzing every interaction, and debating the motives and consequences of each revelation. The fallout from Yandy's disclosures was only beginning, and the next phase promised even more intense confrontations, shocking confessions, and dramatic twists that would push everyone to their emotional limits, leaving no one untouched by the storm. The tension that had gripped the studio seemed almost unbearable as the next sequence of revelations began to unfold. Yandy, standing confidently amid the chaos she had unleashed, took a measured breath and prepared to expose yet another layer of deception, one that threatened to completely upend the fragile alliances remaining. "You think the last truths were bad?" she asked, her voice steady but laden with authority. "You haven't seen anything yet. The reality behind the scenes is far darker than any of you imagined." The room went silent, all eyes fixed on her, some wide with fear, others narrowed with suspicion. "We're not just dealing with manipulation and betrayal anymore," she continued. "We're dealing with consequences that affect every single person in this room, whether you see it or not." Murmurs spread quickly among the cast as the magnitude of her words sank in, a chilling realization that nothing could remain hidden any longer. Yandy began revealing a string of private messages and emails, evidence she had painstakingly collected, that exposed secret deals and covert communications designed to control outcomes, manipulate perceptions, and dictate alliances. Gasps and shocked whispers rippled through the studio as cast members recognized the implications. "I can't believe this," one murmured, shaking their head. "All this time, we thought we were making our own choices, and you were pulling the strings behind the scenes." Another voice shot back, trembling with disbelief. "You've been lying to us this entire time." Cameras captured every reaction, shocked expressions, teary eyes, clenched jaws, and the emotional energy in the room escalated with every passing moment. Fans watching live erupted online, some praising Yandy's courage, others expressing outrage and disbelief, while countless others speculated about what would come next. The first major confrontation of this phase erupted between two longtime allies who had been operating in secrecy. "You betrayed me," one yelled, pointing an accusatory finger. "I trusted you, and you set me up in front of everyone." The accused, voice shaking, shot back, I did what I had to do to survive, just like everyone else. Yandy watched as the emotional storm intensified, knowing that the raw, unfiltered reactions were precisely the spectacle that would captivate viewers. Arguments escalated into shouting matches, whispers of old grudges resurfaced, and long-held resentments ignited with explosive intensity. Fans at home could almost feel the tension emanating from the screens. Every shout, gasp, and tear resonating with the chaos in real time. The next revelations sent shockwaves through the group. Yandy exposed a covert alliance, one that had been manipulating events for months while maintaining a facade of loyalty and friendship. "You thought no one knew," she said, holding up proof that included private correspondence and recorded conversations. "But I've been watching, documenting, and now everyone will know the truth." The accused member's face turned pale, their hands trembling as they struggled to respond. This isn't real," they stammered, voice barely audible over the heated murmurs of the room. "It is real," Yandy replied, calm but firm. "And it's time you take responsibility for what you've done." The room erupted into arguments, tearful confrontations, and defensive posturing, each interaction amplifying the emotional intensity that had already reached its peak. Adding to the tension, Yandy unveiled evidence of financial manipulation, showing that some cast members had profited from schemes designed to exploit both fellow members and fans alike. The implications hit like a shockwave. "We were being used," one whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. "All this time, for money," another shouted, voice cracking. "I can't believe this is happening right now." The room became a whirlwind of anger, betrayal, and disbelief, with every revelation sparking new confrontations and amplifying the chaos. Cameras captured every nuanced flinches, the sobs, the trembling hands, creating a visual tapestry of turmoil that left viewers at home mesmerized. Personal confrontations escalated further as long-standing grievances came to the forefront. Old arguments that had never been fully resolved now erupted violently, intertwined with Yandy's shocking revelations. "You think I forgot what you did last season?" one shouted, slamming a fist onto a table. "You lied, manipulated, and humiliated me, and now you act like it never happened." Another voice fired back, trembling with fury. "Don't pretend you're innocent. You played your part just as much as anyone else." The studio descended into chaos, a cacophony of shouts, sobs, and whispered confessions, each moment adding to the already volatile mix of betrayal and hurt. Then, an unexpected confession shook everyone to their core. A typically reserved cast member, previously silent, revealed their involvement in a secret plan that had influenced several critical outcomes. Their voice cracked with emotion, trembling as they admitted, "I didn't know how far it would go. I thought I was protecting myself, but I see now that I hurt everyone instead." Gasps and murmurs filled the room as the magnitude of their confession sank in. "How could you do this?" one demanded, disbelief and anger mingling in their tone. "We trusted you." The revelation added another layer of complexity, deepening the emotional stakes and further fracturing remaining alliances. As Part 4 progressed, the room was a constant ebb and flow of accusations, tearful admissions, and fiery arguments. Yandy orchestrated the unfolding drama with precision, allowing conflicts to play out naturally while guiding the narrative to ensure the maximum impact of every revelation. Moments of vulnerability emerged amidst the chaos, fleeting glimpses of remorse, fear, and humanity in an otherwise volatile environment. "I didn't want this to happen," one member whispered, eyes glistening with tears. "Neither did I," another responded softly. But despite these brief interludes, the overarching feeling remained one of tension, suspicion, and uncertainty. Alliances were tested, trust shattered, and every interaction seemed to bring new revelations that no one could have anticipated. Fans at home were captivated, glued to their screens as they witnessed friendships crumble, loyalties questioned, and the full impact of Yandy's truth unfold. Social media exploded with reactions, theories, and debates, each fan dissecting the motivations, secrets, and betrayals revealed. The intensity in the studio mirrored the intensity online, creating a real-time shared experience of shock, disbelief, and fascination. With every passing minute, the stakes escalated, and it became clear that the fallout from Yandy's revelations would continue to ripple long after the cameras stopped rolling. By the end of Part 4, the studio was charged with an almost unbearable emotional energy. Yandy had exposed deceit, manipulation, and hidden agendas that no one could ignore. Cast members were exhausted, some weeping, some pacing, and some frozen in stunned silence. The alliances, already fragile, had shifted dramatically, leaving many questioning whom they could trust. And as the night drew on, it was evident that the story was far from over. More twists, confessions, and confrontations awaited, promising to push everyone to their emotional and psychological limits, leaving an indelible mark on both the participants and the fans witnessing the drama unfold. The tension in the studio had reached a fever pitch, every corner vibrating with unspoken grievances, whispered suspicions, and the lingering shock of Yandy's latest revelations. Yet even as the chaos seemed at its apex, she knew the story was far from over, and the best and most devastating moments were still to come. As she prepared to dismantle the last facades, expose the deepest betrayals, and reveal truths that no one had dared to speak aloud before, starting with a hidden alliance that had operated in absolute secrecy, manipulating outcomes, setting people against one another, and creating a carefully orchestrated narrative that had fooled everyone, including the fans watching at home, whose jaws literally dropped as the evidence unfolded on camera, screenshots, texts, and even video clips displaying conversations that revealed backdoor deals, covert plotting, and intentional misdirection designed to create conflict and chaos while simultaneously controlling the perception of every member of the cast. Emotions ran high as accusations flew across the room, fingers pointing, voices raised, and a palpable sense of betrayal hung heavy in the air. Tears streaming, hearts pounding, some cast members doubling over in disbelief, unable to comprehend how closely they had been watched and manipulated, while others, trembling with rage, demanded accountability, each confrontation more explosive than the last, as Yandy allowed the storm to rage fully, understanding that the emotional fallout would be the most compelling element for viewers. Fans already trending hashtags, live streams ablaze with speculation and fury, and social media feeds exploding with outrage, sympathy, and disbelief, the room itself becoming a pressure cooker of raw, unfiltered emotion. As old rivalries reignited, personal grievances resurfaced, and long-buried secrets came spilling out in a torrent of confessions, accusations, and emotional outbursts. One cast member lunging at another in anger while someone else sank to the floor, sobbing, overwhelmed by the enormity of the revelations, the air thick with tension so heavy it seemed almost impossible to breathe. Yet Yandy pressed on, revealing more evidence of financial manipulation, the diversion of funds meant for joint projects, unauthorized deals that had benefited only a select few while leaving the rest blindsided and enraged. Each new detail causing a ripple of gasps, mutters of disbelief, and outright shouting, the cast members now fully engulfed in a web of conflict, resentment, and suspicion, their relationships fracturing in real time, their alliances crumbling like sandcastles under the relentless tide of truth, as even the previously quiet members could no longer remain silent, stepping forward with confessions of their own, revealing actions they had taken out of fear, desperation, or self-preservation. Yet each admission layered the drama deeper, creating a complex tapestry of betrayal, guilt, and shattered trust, while Yandy's calm, commanding presence at the center of the storm kept the room tethered just enough to prevent total collapse, yet allowed every confrontation, every argument, every tearful revelation to play out in its full, dramatic intensity. The audience watching at home was captivated, unable to tear their eyes away, live streaming reactions, dissecting each accusation, debating who was telling the truth, who had been complicit, and what consequences might come next. Hashtags trending worldwide as fans speculated endlessly about the fallout, the alliances that might survive, and the friendships that were beyond repair. The energy in the studio feeding the energy online in a feedback loop of drama and suspense, while behind closed doors, whispered negotiations, quiet confrontations, and last-minute alliances began to form in desperate attempts to salvage relationships, protect reputations, or manipulate outcomes in light of the overwhelming exposure. Yet every move was observed, every whisper documented, ensuring that nothing remained hidden for long, and the tension continued to escalate as Yandy shifted the focus onto previously untouchable figures, revealing evidence of sabotage, manipulation, and backdoor scheming that directly implicated some of the most respected, trusted, or seemingly untouchable members of the cast, their faces draining of color, hands trembling, voices cracking as they realized the magnitude of their exposure, gasps, stammers, and incredulous murmurs filling the room as the final layers of deception were peeled away, showing just how intricately, deliberately, and dangerously some of the cast had manipulated not only each other but also the public narrative. And as the night dragged on, confrontations became relentless, tears flowed freely, screams echoed, and moments of temporary reconciliation flickered and vanished as quickly as they appeared. leaving everyone emotionally exhausted yet unable to detach from the unraveling spectacle. Fans at home glued to every frame, sharing clips, reacting live, theorizing, and predicting the next shocking move. The intensity compounded by revelations of personal betrayals that cut deeper than any professional conflict. Friendships shattered over hidden agendas, secret romances exposed in the middle of shouting matches, alliances broken as trust evaporated in real time, and every cast member now facing the stark reality that their carefully curated personas, their manipulations, and their secrets had been laid bare for the world to see. Even as some attempted to salvage dignity, offer explanations, or plead for forgiveness, the weight of the evidence, the overwhelming intensity of emotions, and the relentless unraveling of relationships made the room nearly uninhabitable, the raw humanity on display creating a spectacle that blurred the line between reality and performance. Each interaction a storm of emotion, each revelation a lightning strike of truth, while Yandy, unwavering, continued to navigate the chaos, revealing more recordings, more documents, more photos, exposing the depth of lies, the breadth of betrayal, and the consequences of actions taken in secret. And as Part 5 progressed, the conflict reached new heights, with cast members shouting, crying, and confronting each other in ways that had never been seen before, the raw, unfiltered emotion serving as the fuel for an ever-escalating drama. Fans at home transfixed, unable to look away, as the story continued to unfold with twists, shocks, and revelations that promised to leave lasting consequences for every individual in the studio and everyone watching from the outside. A maelstrom of betrayal, manipulation, heartbreak, and unrelenting tension that seemed to have no end in sight. The studio had become a battlefield of raw emotion, every inch of space charged with anger, shock, and heartbreak, as Yandy, standing at the epicenter, methodically peeled back yet another layer of the drama, exposing even more intricate betrayals, covert manipulations, and secret dealings that had been hidden from both the cast and the fans, revealing a network of deceit that spanned months, even years, with whispers of backdoor alliances, secret communications, and strategic sabotages that had subtly but systematically undermined relationships and trust. Each revelation landing like a hammer blow, causing cast members to stagger under the weight of truth, their faces pale, hands trembling, voices quivering with a mixture of fear and rage, while others tried desperately to defend themselves, their protests drowned out by the cacophony of accusations, gasps, and cries echoing through the studio, creating an almost tangible tension that seemed to press down on everyone in the room, the air thick with the smell of sweat, tension, and unspoken fear. As Yandy continued to unveil audio recordings, text exchanges, and hidden messages that confirmed suspicions no one had dared to voice, showing collusion, betrayal, and manipulation in the most shocking detail imaginable, causing former allies to turn on each other in real time, shouting matches erupting, chairs sliding across the floor, and tears streaming freely as the sheer magnitude of the deception became impossible to ignore, the walls themselves seeming to absorb the intensity of the conflict. While fans at home reacted instantaneously, flooding social media with outrage, speculation, and admiration for Yandy's courage, hashtags trending within minutes as every shocking twist went viral, memes created, live streams dissecting each interaction, all while the cast's emotional defenses crumbled, exposing vulnerabilities, resentments, and insecurities that had been long buried beneath the surface, with each cast member forced to confront not only the lies of others but also their own complicity in the intricate web of manipulation, secrets, and betrayals that had defined their interactions for months, and even years, the emotional roller coaster showing no signs of slowing down, as Yandy strategically revealed financial discrepancies, secret benefactors, and hidden agendas that directly impacted the livelihoods and reputations of everyone present, leading to screaming confrontations, tears of frustration, and sobbing confessions, with even the most stoic members cracking under the pressure, revealing long-held secrets about personal indiscretions, hidden relationships, and calculated moves designed to control the narrative and protect individual interests. The emotional intensity reaching a fever pitch as confrontations escalated into physical displays of anger. Cast members pacing, slamming fists on tables, pointing fingers, embracing in brief moments of reconciliation before erupting into renewed arguments, all while Yandy maintained a commanding presence, directing the flow of drama with surgical precision, knowing that every revelation, every confession, every tear and shout was a performance in itself, a spectacle of human emotion that would captivate audiences for weeks, months even, as the viewers watched in awe, their own hearts racing in sympathy, outrage, and fascination, analyzing every micro-expression, every subtle reaction, every nuance of body language as the once stable dynamics of the cast disintegrated in real time, trust obliterated, friendships tested beyond repair, and alliances forming and dissolving with each new revelation, as the room became a living, breathing organism of chaos, with energy bouncing off the walls, pooling in corners, and exploding in bursts of shouting, sobbing, and panicked whispers, while Yandy, at the heart of it all, continued to expose the most shocking truths yet, revealing secret romantic entanglements, hidden vendettas, and manipulative tactics designed to sway loyalties and orchestrate conflict. The reactions of cast members, a mixture of horror, anger, and reluctant admiration for her meticulous attention to detail and undeniable ability to hold the room captive, each moment of revelation more devastating than the last, creating a layered narrative of human drama that was as mesmerizing as it was destructive. And even as some tried to rationalize, excuse, or justify their actions, the evidence left no room for ambiguity, no space for denial, only the raw, unfiltered reality of a network of secrets, lies, and manipulations that had shaped their world in ways they could never have imagined, causing some to retreat into silent despair, others to lash out in fury, and yet others to form desperate, temporary alliances in a bid to salvage reputation or deflect blame, all while the cameras captured every reaction, every tear, every scream, and every whispered apology, broadcasting a spectacle so intense that fans could scarcely believe what they were witnessing, their social media feeds erupting with commentary, theory, and speculation, hashtags trending globally as the audience attempted to predict what would happen next, who would survive the emotional onslaught, who would be exposed next, and how the dynamics of the group would continue to shift as Yandy pushed forward with relentless precision, revealing layer upon layer of hidden truths, financial manipulation, emotional sabotage, and personal betrayals, each disclosure sending shockwaves through the room, causing gasps, sobs, and shouting to intertwine in a chaotic symphony of human emotion, as cast members were forced to confront the full extent of the deception, the depth of manipulation, and the fragility of their relationships, with no opportunity to retreat or hide, every interaction monitored, documented, and exposed for the world to see, intensifying the stakes, and ensuring that every viewer, every fan, and every participant felt the full weight of the unraveling drama, their emotions entwined with the spectacle, hearts racing with every twist, gasp, and confession, the intensity building relentlessly as more secrets, betrayals, and shocking admissions came to light, old rivalries reignited with fiery intensity, former friends became adversaries, and every alliance, however carefully constructed, was tested, strained, or destroyed, leaving cast members navigating a minefield of mistrust, raw emotion, and personal vulnerability, all while the world watched in rapt attention, social media exploding with reactions, commentary, and debate, as the saga unfolded in real time, a relentless cascade of revelations, confrontations, and emotional upheaval that showed no sign of slowing, ensuring that the drama, the tension, and the spectacle would be remembered as one of the most intense, riveting, and devastating sequences in reality television history, a narrative of manipulation, betrayal, heartbreak, and relentless truth that left no cast member, and no fan, untouched, as Yandy continued to command the room, exposing hidden truths, unmasking secret agendas, and orchestrating confrontations with a precision that kept the energy high, the drama raw, and the stakes impossibly elevated, driving the story forward in a torrent of emotion, revelation, and chaos that captivated the audience, ensured maximum engagement, and transformed the night into an unforgettable tableau of human vulnerability, strategic manipulation, and explosive entertainment, a maelstrom where trust was obliterated, secrets were laid bare, and the ultimate truth became impossible to ignore, leaving every participant and viewer forever changed by the intensity, the spectacle, and the unrelenting, mesmerizing drama that had unfolded with such devastating, electrifying force. The intensity in the studio continued to escalate, a relentless storm of raw emotion and explosive revelations that showed no sign of abatement, as Yandy, standing resolute and unflinching at the center of the chaos, prepared to unveil the deepest, darkest secrets that had been festering behind the scenes. Secrets that implicated nearly every member of the cast in ways no one could have anticipated, and as she revealed carefully curated evidence screenshots, text messages, private videos, and recorded conversations, the room reacted with a mixture of shock, disbelief, and outright fury. Gasps rippling through the air as cast members struggled to comprehend the magnitude of the exposure. Their faces pale, eyes wide, and voices quivering as accusations, confessions, and defenses collided in a chaotic symphony of sound and emotion, each confrontation more intense than the last, creating a tension so thick it seemed almost tangible, as if the walls themselves absorbed the energy of the room, every glance, whisper, and tremor adding fuel to the inferno, while Yandy, unwavering, continued to peel back the layers of deception with meticulous precision, revealing secret alliances that had been orchestrating events from the shadows, manipulating outcomes, and setting cast members against one another in a delicate dance of betrayal, each revelation landing like a thunderclap, forcing individuals to confront not only the actions of others but also their own complicity in the web of lies, deceit, and manipulation, with some cast members crumpling under the weight of guilt, others exploding with rage, and still others retreating into stunned silence, their hands shaking, eyes brimming with tears, and voices barely audible as they processed the full scope of the exposure, while the fans at home erupted across social media, hashtags trending within minutes, memes created, theories shared, debates ignited, and live streams dissecting every reaction in real time, all of it feeding back into the studio like a live amplifier of chaos. As cast members confronted each other with previously unspoken grievances, long-held resentments surfaced with explosive force, and old friendships crumbled under the relentless pressure of truth, betrayals, and emotional vulnerability, each interaction adding new layers of complexity and intensity to the unfolding drama, while Yandy strategically revealed financial manipulations, showing how certain individuals had profited from schemes at the expense of their peers, igniting cries of outrage, disbelief, and anger, with some screaming, "How could you do this?" and others breaking down in sobs, unable to reconcile the image they had of their friends with the reality laid bare before them, creating an atmosphere of near unbearable tension, the room a maelstrom of emotions, accusations, and heartbreak, as even the previously quiet or reserved cast members stepped forward, confessing their own secret involvements, revealing past mistakes, hidden motives, and clandestine actions that had further fueled the manipulation and chaos. Each confession another shockwave through the already turbulent environment, compelling reactions from every corner, as alliances that had once seemed unbreakable now splintered in real time, betrayals cutting deeper than any physical wound, leaving raw, emotional scars that would not heal quickly, while Yandy maintained a commanding presence, orchestrating the flow of revelations to maximize impact, timing each disclosure, each confrontation, and each emotional crescendo with precision, ensuring that the tension never waned, and the drama remained at a fever pitch, as viewers watched, riveted, hearts racing, eyes glued to every reaction, unable to look away, sharing their own theories, outrage, and admiration for Yandy's meticulous strategy. The studio itself transformed into a crucible of human emotion, where anger, despair, guilt, and shock mingled, collided, and ignited in unpredictable ways, each new revelation creating a chain reaction of confrontations, tears, and shouting, while the cameras captured every nuance: the trembling hands, the quivering lips, the flash of fear or fury in the eyes, broadcasting a spectacle that was as mesmerizing as it was devastating. The drama amplified by social media engagement, online debates, and live reactions, as the cast was forced to navigate an emotional minefield, trust shattered, friendships tested, and reputations exposed in ways that could not be undone, as Yandy continued to expose hidden romantic entanglements, undisclosed alliances, and manipulative tactics that had controlled narratives, swayed loyalties, and orchestrated chaos. Each disclosure met with gasps, screams, and tears, the emotional energy so intense that even the most composed members found themselves unraveling, while cast members who had previously remained on the sidelines were drawn into the fray, compelled to defend themselves, accuse others, or reveal their own secrets, further complicating the volatile landscape of betrayal, manipulation, and heartbreak. As the intensity built, moments of temporary reconciliation flickered but vanished almost immediately, replaced by renewed confrontations, accusations, and emotional explosions, every exchange, every tear, every raised voice adding to the cascading drama, creating a relentless cycle of revelation, conflict, and raw human emotion, while Yandy continued to drive the narrative, ensuring that the audience at home remained captivated, engaged, and emotionally invested, each shocking twist feeding into the next. Alliances forming and dissolving in a constant state of flux, friendships tested beyond repair, and every individual forced to confront the consequences of actions taken in secrecy. The studio a crucible where trust, loyalty, and integrity were tested to the extreme. Every new piece of evidence, every revelation of betrayal, manipulation, or exploitation pushing the emotional stakes higher. And yet, even as cast members faltered under the intensity, the drama showed no signs of waning. Yandy relentless in her pursuit of exposing the full truth, revealing layer after layer of deception, strategic manipulation, and personal betrayal. The cumulative effect leaving the cast emotionally exhausted, vulnerable, and irreversibly changed, while the fans, glued to their screens, shared, debated, and dissected every moment, amplifying the chaos, the suspense, and the sheer emotional intensity, ensuring that the story's impact extended far beyond the studio walls, leaving a mark on everyone involved and solidifying the spectacle as an unforgettable display of human emotion, cunning strategy, and explosive reality television drama. The tension and revelations building toward a crescendo that promised to redefine the dynamics of the cast, the perceptions of the audience, and the very nature of the show itself. As the night continued, relentless in its intensity, every moment a masterclass in suspense, emotional upheaval, and unmasking of the human heart's most raw and vulnerable truths, a narrative that would resonate long after the cameras stopped rolling, leaving no one untouched, no relationship intact, and no secret unrevealed. The energy in the studio had reached a level that seemed almost impossible to sustain, a combustible mix of fear, anger, betrayal, and raw vulnerability that made the air itself feel heavy, as Yandy, unwavering in her resolve, prepared to unleash the final, most devastating layer of revelations that had been meticulously compiled over months of careful observation, hidden recordings, intercepted messages, and behind-the-scenes investigations. And as she presented the evidence one piece at a time, the room reacted in waves of disbelief and outrage, cast members recoiling, mouths open, hands shaking, eyes wide with a mixture of terror and indignation, while others, driven by panic or desperation, attempted to defend themselves, their voices cracking as accusations flew in a cacophony of shouting, crying, and gasping that filled every corner of the studio, cameras capturing each moment with precision, ensuring that every flicker of emotion, every quiver in a hand, every tearful glance and strained expression would be broadcast in its full, unfiltered intensity to the audience at home, who watched, riveted, unable to look away as the drama unfolded like a storm of human emotion, social media erupting simultaneously, fans live streaming, sharing, reacting, theorizing, hashtags trending within minutes, each shocking twist analyzed, debated, and shared across platforms as the emotional stakes escalated with each new revelation. Alliances shifting violently, friendships fracturing, and trust evaporating under the relentless scrutiny, while Yandy.com and Commanding continued to peel back the layers, exposing secret romantic entanglements, covert alliances, and calculated manipulations that had controlled outcomes, swayed loyalties, and dictated the narrative in ways no one had anticipated, forcing cast members to confront the depth of their own complicity, the consequences of their actions, and the reality that everything they had believed about themselves and each other had been a carefully orchestrated illusion. And as confessions spilled forth from those who had remained silent, reluctant admissions mixing with accusations, the room became a maelstrom of emotion, each interaction more intense than the last, tears flowing freely, voices raised to the breaking point, with some members collapsing into sobs, while others exploded in fury, slamming fists on tables, pointing fingers, pacing frantically, the tension so thick it was almost a physical presence, a living, breathing entity that seemed to consume everyone in its path, while fans at home reacted in real time, posting live commentary, dissecting every nuance of expression, every glance, every whisper, sharing theories about who had been complicit, who had been manipulated, and what the ultimate consequences would be. As Yandy continued to unveil financial betrayals, exposing hidden deals, diverted funds, and personal profiteering that had undermined the group and left many of the cast reeling, gasping, and trembling with shock, the implications so profound that some struggled to speak, their attempts at explanation drowned out by the chaos of overlapping voices, the room a symphony of emotional breakdowns, heated confrontations, and desperate pleas for understanding or forgiveness, each moment feeding into the next, a relentless cycle of exposure, confrontation, and reaction, while the narrative of manipulation, deception, and betrayal deepened, entwining with personal grievances, long-standing rivalries, and hidden resentments that erupted with violent emotional force, creating a spectacle so intense, so unrelenting, that it seemed to transcend the boundaries of reality television, a raw, unfiltered examination of trust, loyalty, and human frailty. As cast members grappled with the implications of being exposed, with alliances that had once seemed unshakable dissolving before their eyes, friendships crumbling, and every interaction charged with suspicion and doubt, while Yandy, orchestrating the storm with meticulous care, revealed even deeper layers of betrayal, exposing not only the strategic manipulations but also the emotional machinations, secret agendas, and personal vendettas that had guided every interaction, decision, and confrontation, leaving the cast emotionally fractured, vulnerable, and desperate, their cries of frustration and heartbreak echoing through the studio as the chaos reached levels previously unimaginable. And as the night wore on, new revelations continued to surface, some previously hidden, some deliberately concealed, each sending shockwaves through the already tense environment, causing more tears, more shouting, more desperate attempts to explain, justify, or deflect blame. All while the fans at home were drawn further into the spectacle, analyzing, debating, theorizing, and emotionally investing in every twist, turn, and disclosure. The intensity amplified by the interactivity of live social media reactions, as each shocking admission created ripples that spread far beyond the studio, influencing perception, loyalty, and fan engagement in ways that mirrored the drama unfolding in real time. And even as moments of tentative reconciliation appeared, they were fleeting, quickly replaced by renewed confrontations, emotional eruptions, and unfiltered confessions that kept the energy at a fever pitch. Alliances forming and dissolving in rapid succession, trust obliterated, and reputations hanging by the thinnest of threads, as Yandy continued to guide the narrative, revealing layer upon layer of hidden truths, manipulations, betrayals, and personal secrets, ensuring that every cast member was forced to confront the reality of their actions, the consequences of their decisions, and the intensity of the human emotions that had governed their interactions all along, while the viewers, glued to their screens, could scarcely believe the extent of the revelations, the drama, and the emotional rawness, every gasp, tear, and shout magnified by the immediacy of social media, live reactions, and trending discussions, creating a feedback loop that fed the drama, amplified the suspense, and cemented the night as one of the most intense, riveting, and unforgettable displays of human emotion, manipulation, and explosive reality television spectacle, a relentless torrent of exposure, confrontation, heartbreak, and unrelenting tension that showed no sign of diminishing, leaving every participant, every fan, and every observer forever altered by the raw, unfiltered chaos that had consumed the studio and spilled into the world beyond, a dramatic crescendo that tested the limits of human endurance, loyalty, and emotional resilience, as truths long hidden were brought to light, secrets meticulously guarded were exposed, and the intricate web of deceit, manipulation, and personal betrayal reached a level of intensity that few could have imagined, leaving cast members emotionally shattered, alliances destroyed, and fans captivated, enthralled, and left in awe of the spectacle unfolding before them. The narrative, a masterclass in suspense, drama, and the devastating power of truth laid bare. The studio was now a furnace of unrelenting emotion, every corner thick with tension, betrayal, and raw vulnerability, as Yandy, unshaken and commanding, prepared to deliver the next wave of revelations, each one more shocking than the last, revealing long-hidden alliances, secret betrayals, and manipulative schemes that spanned months and even years, causing the cast to stagger under the weight of truth, their expressions a mixture of horror, disbelief, and anger, some covering their faces, trembling, or sinking to the floor in tears, while others shouted, accused, and demanded explanations, the cacophony of overlapping voices creating a chaotic symphony of human emotion. And yet, amid the chaos, Yandy remained a pillar of control, guiding the narrative with surgical precision, each revelation timed to elicit maximum shock and emotional response, as she unveiled not only covert romantic entanglements and secret financial manipulations, but also the psychological games, power plays, and intricate deceptions that had dictated relationships, loyalties, and conflicts throughout the show. The air so thick with tension it seemed to vibrate, every whisper, glance, and trembling gesture amplified, cameras capturing each nuance, broadcasting the intensity to millions of fans who were simultaneously captivated, horrified, and riveted, flooding social media with live reactions, trending hashtags, memes, and endless speculation, the feedback loop between the studio and the audience intensifying the drama further. While inside, cast members confronted one another with raw, unfiltered emotion, old grudges, and unspoken resentments surfacing violently, friendships fracturing as trust evaporated, and alliances crumbling under the relentless scrutiny, tears mixing with anger, fear with disbelief, as some tried desperately to defend themselves, explain away actions, or negotiate temporary reprieves. But every word, gesture, and defense was undercut by the mounting evidence Yandy had amassed, including private messages, recorded conversations, and previously unseen footage. Each piece a dagger that pierced the fragile veneers of control and composure the cast had clung to, forcing confessions, apologies, and emotional outbursts that escalated the tension beyond anything previously experienced, the drama feeding on itself as cast members lashed out at one another, each accusation igniting new confrontations, new revelations, new bursts of emotion, the room a tempest of shouting, crying, pacing, gesturing, and collapsing in despair, every heartbeat and breath amplified by the intensity of the moment, while Yandy continued to direct the narrative, exposing hidden motives, undisclosed alliances, and manipulative strategies that had shaped every relationship, decision, and interaction, causing the emotional stakes to rise exponentially. The chaos in the room mirrored and amplified by the viewers at home, who analyzed every reaction, speculated on every twist, and engaged in real-time debates about guilt, culpability, and the consequences that would inevitably follow, as even the previously silent or reserved cast members were drawn into the fray, compelled to reveal their own secret dealings, hidden actions, and personal betrayals, each confession adding a new layer of complexity, creating a web of intrigue, deception, and raw emotion that seemed inescapable, while physical manifestations of tension slamming fists, thrown chairs, collapsing into sobs, pacing, trembling added to the visual and emotional spectacle, capturing the attention of every viewer, ensuring maximum engagement, and pushing the limits of endurance for everyone in the studio, with every new disclosure, accusation, or confession layering further chaos onto the already combustible environment, old alliances dissolving, new conflicts erupting, and trust obliterated as relationships were tested to their absolute breaking point. Yet Yandy, masterful in her orchestration, guided the sequence of reveals, ensuring each moment escalated, the drama building like a pressure cooker on the verge of explosion, while simultaneously allowing fleeting moments of vulnerability and remorse to surface, humanizing the chaos, showing glimpses of fear, regret, and humanity amidst the storm of betrayal and conflict, giving viewers a complex, riveting narrative to dissect, discuss, and obsess over. The intensity amplified by the interplay of raw emotional exposure, strategic revelations, and the ever-present awareness of the cameras capturing every nuance, every micro-expression, every sob, gasp, and shout, broadcasting them to millions of viewers, who responded with waves of social media commentary, live reactions, trending hashtags and viral clips, feeding the drama back into the studio, intensifying the already explosive environment, as cast members were forced to confront the magnitude of their actions, the depth of manipulation, and the shattering consequences of their betrayals. Every alliance tested, every trust questioned, every personal and professional boundary pushed to its limits. The room, a crucible of human emotion, intensity, and spectacle, with each new revelation layering additional chaos, as hidden relationships, secret communications, and undisclosed schemes came to light, forcing confrontations, emotional breakdowns, and desperate attempts at explanation or justification, all meticulously captured, presented, and amplified. The interplay of raw human vulnerability and orchestrated drama creating a narrative of unprecedented intensity, each emotional eruption building upon the last, ensuring that the stakes, tension, and suspense remained at a peak. As Yandy unveiled yet more financial manipulations, covert arrangements, and personal betrayals that had benefited a select few while devastating others, the implications so profound that members gasped, shouted, cried, and trembled, some seeking reconciliation, others exploding in rage. The emotional spectrum, as varied and unpredictable as the revelations themselves, with social media reacting in real time, fans theorizing, analyzing, sharing, debating, and emotionally investing in every shocking twist, while alliances fractured further, friendships shattered, and trust became an almost unattainable commodity in the relentless exposure of deception, manipulation, and betrayal. Yandy orchestrating each moment with an almost surgical precision, maintaining the narrative flow, ensuring maximum emotional impact, escalating drama, and audience engagement, while cast members struggled to process the enormity of what was unfolding, their own actions, choices, and secrets now fully visible to the world, causing a complex interplay of fear, guilt, anger, and despair. Moments of fleeting vulnerability countered by renewed confrontations, the intensity building like a tidal wave, threatening to engulf everyone in its path. As the drama continued to unfold relentlessly, secrets exposed, betrayals revealed, and emotional stakes heightened to levels previously unimaginable, leaving the cast emotionally battered, socially exposed, and psychologically raw, while the audience remained riveted, mesmerized, and emotionally invested, experiencing the full spectrum of human emotion through the lens of the unfolding spectacle. The tension, chaos, and dramatic revelations, a masterclass in reality television storytelling. Each twist, confession, and confrontation layering upon the last, creating a narrative so intense, so immersive, and so emotionally charged that it demanded complete attention, analysis, and engagement, ensuring the drama would not only dominate the present moment but reverberate long into the future, leaving indelible impressions on both cast and viewers alike. A relentless, immersive saga of manipulation, betrayal, heartbreak, and unrelenting emotional spectacle that showed no signs of abating. As Yandy continued to guide, reveal, and orchestrate, her presence, the axis around which the storm of human emotion and explosive revelation continued to spin, escalating with every passing minute, every tear, every shout, every whispered confession, until the entire studio was consumed by a maelstrom of intensity, drama, and truth, leaving no person, no relationship, and no secret untouched, and the fans at home unable to look away, fully captivated, emotionally drained, yet compelled to witness every remaining moment of the unfolding spectacle, as reality, manipulation, and raw human vulnerability collided in an unforgettable, unstoppable force of entertainment, exposure, and emotional chaos. The studio had become an inferno of emotion, each cast member teetering on the brink of breakdown, their nerves frayed, their hearts pounding as Yandy, unyielding and meticulously strategic, continued to dismantle the carefully constructed facades that had defined months of hidden rivalries, secret manipulations, and covert alliances, her revelations cascading through the room like a tidal wave, exposing clandestine communications, secret financial deals, and private betrayals that no one had imagined would surface. And as each piece of evidence was presented, recorded conversations, video footage, and eyewitness accounts, the air grew heavier, charged with disbelief, fury, and despair, as former friends turned into accusers, former allies became adversaries, and trust, once taken for granted, disintegrated with alarming speed. The emotional turbulence so intense that some cast members collapsed into tears, others shouted incoherently, their voices overlapping in a chaotic crescendo, while a few attempted to defend themselves, their protests drowned out by the storm of accusations and revelations. And through it all, Yandy maintained an unshakable presence, orchestrating the drama with the precision of a conductor, ensuring each confession, each argument, each tearful admission landed with maximum impact, driving the narrative forward with relentless momentum. As the emotional stakes escalated beyond anything previously experienced, the cameras capturing every nuance, the trembling hands, the quivering lips, the flaring eyes, and the involuntary gasps, broadcasting the spectacle to millions of viewers who were simultaneously horrified, enthralled, and unable to look away, flooding social media with real-time reactions, trending hashtags, memes, and fan theories, amplifying the chaos back into the studio in an almost tangible feedback loop. As alliances splintered and reformed, accusations multiplied, and every revelation seemed to open the door to an even deeper layer of deceit, secrecy, and emotional devastation, with Yandy revealing not only secret romantic entanglements but also intricate manipulations that had dictated loyalties, controlled perceptions, and fueled conflicts, creating an environment so volatile that even the most composed individuals struggled to maintain composure, their emotions raw, exposed, and on full display, while the audience, riveted and emotionally invested, dissected every interaction, every glance, every word, and every nuance of behavior, debating who was guilty, who had been manipulated, and what consequences would inevitably follow. And as the drama escalated, the cast confronted the psychological ramifications of their own actions, the repercussions of long-standing betrayals, and the realization that their carefully curated identities had been shattered in the glare of public exposure, with some members retreating into silence, overwhelmed by shame, fear, or despair, while others lashed out, directing anger, blame, and frustration at anyone within reach, creating a storm of emotional chaos that was at once personal and collective, intimate and spectacular, a perfect storm of tension, heartbreak, and unrelenting drama, amplified by the awareness that every interaction, every confession, every tear and shout was being watched, dissected, and analyzed by millions of fans who were invested in the unraveling spectacle, contributing to a sense of inescapable scrutiny and compounding the psychological pressure on each participant. And as Yandy continued to peel back layers of manipulation, she revealed secret agendas, hidden motives, and previously concealed betrayals that implicated nearly everyone in the room, forcing each cast member to confront the reality of their choices, the consequences of their actions, and the depths of the deception that had controlled their relationships. While the dynamics of the group shifted violently, alliances breaking and reforming with dizzying speed, friendships strained to the breaking point, and the emotional intensity climbing to near unbearable levels, with each revelation creating a domino effect of confrontation, confession, and emotional release. Tears flowing freely, voices raised to the limit, physical gestures of frustration, slamming fists, throwing chairs, pacing, collapsing, adding to the spectacle. Each moment captured with meticulous detail by the cameras, ensuring that nothing was missed, nothing was concealed, and every emotional peak, every dramatic low, was broadcast for maximum impact, while the fans at home reacted with equal intensity, debating, theorizing, sharing, and dissecting every piece of information as the narrative of manipulation, betrayal, and heartbreak expanded, deepening the emotional resonance and engagement. And even as temporary moments of vulnerability and reconciliation emerged, they were fleeting, quickly supplanted by renewed confrontations, accusations, and explosive revelations, keeping the tension at a constant, feverish pitch, as hidden romantic affairs, secret financial manipulations, and personal betrayals were exposed one after another, each disclosure more devastating than the last, ensuring that every cast member felt the full weight of their actions, while the audience remained captivated, glued to every frame, emotionally invested in the cascading drama, every gasp, every sob, every shout amplified by the immediacy of live reactions, trending hashtags, and viral clips, creating an ecosystem of chaos, scrutiny, and emotional intensity that fed back into the studio, elevating the stakes and pushing the participants to the limits of endurance, trust, and emotional resilience, the room a crucible of human experience where loyalty, deception, love, and betrayal collided in unrelenting force, each layer of revelation revealing deeper intricacies of manipulation, ulterior motives, and hidden agendas, compelling cast members to navigate a labyrinth of moral, emotional, and social consequences while the world watched, analyzed, and judged. And as the night stretched on, Yandy's unflinching exposure of hidden truths, secret machinations, and personal indiscretions continued to dismantle the carefully maintained facades, leaving every individual vulnerable, emotionally exposed, and forever changed. The intensity, chaos, and spectacle reaching heights that seemed to promise no end, as the relentless unfolding of betrayal, conflict, and revelation dominated every moment, every heartbeat, and every glance, creating a narrative of unparalleled drama, raw emotion, and mesmerizing human vulnerability that captivated, shocked, and enthralled every viewer, leaving them breathless, emotionally drained, yet unable to turn away, as the storm of truth, manipulation, and heartbreak continued to rage with unrelenting force. As the dust begins to settle and the echoes of shouting, crying, and shocking revelations slowly fade from the studio, it's impossible not to reflect on the magnitude of what just unfolded. Every secret, every betrayal, every hidden truth that Yandy courageously exposed has left a permanent mark not just on the lives of the cast members, but on you, the viewer, who has witnessed the raw, unfiltered reality of human emotion, manipulation, and power dynamics. This was not just a show. It was an unrelenting journey through the complexities of trust, loyalty, and deception. A story that reminds us how fragile relationships can be when secrets fester in the shadows and how courage, honesty, and persistence can shatter illusions, forcing the truth into the light. Now, it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think about the confrontations you witnessed? Which betrayal shocked you the most? And which revelation left you speechless? How do you believe the relationships in the studio will survive or crumble after such intense exposure? Your opinion matters here because this drama doesn't just end when the cameras stop rolling. Every like you leave signals support for uncovering the truth. Every comment adds to the conversation that continues long after the episode airs. And every subscription ensures that you won't miss the next explosive installment where more secrets, confrontations, and emotional revelations will unfold. This is more than entertainment. It's a community, a space where viewers like you dissect, analyze, and engage with the unfolding story, sharing your thoughts, theories, and reactions in real time. So don't hold back, tell us how you really feel, defend your favorite cast members, call out the betrayals that stunned you, or predict what will happen next. Your engagement fuels the drama, keeps the conversation alive, and ensures that the story continues to evolve in ways you can be part of. Hit that like button if you were shocked by Yandy's revelations. Leave a comment sharing your reactions and theories, and subscribe to our channel to stay in the loop for every twist, turn, and explosive moment yet to come. The drama doesn't stop here, and the story is far from over. Your voice is part of it. Fans from around the world are talking, debating, and reacting, and now it's your chance to join the conversation, to weigh in on the chaos, to analyze every move, and to share your perspective on the unfolding spectacle. So, engage, interact, and make sure your voice is heard, because this is the show that keeps you on the edge of your seat, the show that exposes what people are willing to do for love, loyalty, revenge, and power, and the show that will continue to shock, surprise, and captivate with each new revelation. Remember, every click, every comment, every share amplifies the impact of this story. So don't just watch, participate, and become a part of the drama that everyone is talking about. The doors may be closed, the cameras may have captured every moment, but the discussion, the debate, and the emotional journey are far from over. And your engagement is what keeps this story alive, thriving, and evolving. Stay tuned, stay involved, and most importantly, let your voice be heard. You are part of this drama now, and your reactions, opinions, and insights matter more than ever. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, because the next chapter of this explosive saga will not only shock you, it will redefine everything you thought you knew about loyalty, betrayal, and the lengths people will go to protect or expose the truth. This is your front row seat to the most intense reality drama of the year, and it's only going to get bigger, bolder, and more unpredictable from here. Don't miss a moment. Engage, react, participate. Be part of the story. Your opinion, your voice, and your presence are what make this spectacle more than just a show. It's a global conversation. And it's just getting started. The storm of drama you just witnessed doesn't end when the episode closes, it lives on through every reaction, every opinion, and every conversation sparked by Yandy's shocking revelations. Now it's your turn to join the discussion. What was the moment that left you speechless? Which betrayal hit hardest, and which confrontation do you think will change everything moving forward? Every comment you leave fuels the ongoing story. Every like amplifies the intensity, and every share spreads the conversation to others who need to see the chaos unfold. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss a single explosive twist, a single tear, a single shocking confession that will continue to ripple through the cast and the fans alike. This is more than just entertainment, it's a living, breathing drama that evolves with each interaction, and your participation makes it real. Tell us your theories, defend your favorite cast members, or call out the betrayals that stunned you. Your voice matters in shaping the narrative and keeping the suspense alive. Don't just watch, engage. Be part of the chaos, the heartbreak, and the shocking truths that have been revealed. Hit that like button if you were shocked. Comment your thoughts. Share the drama with your friends. And subscribe to ensure you never miss what's coming next. The doors may have been locked, the secrets exposed, and the emotions raw, but the conversation doesn't stop here. You are part of it now, and your voice, your opinion, and your engagement will keep this story alive. Join the discussion, fuel the debate, and make sure your reactions are counted, because this is a drama that thrives on the energy of its audience. Don't hold back, your perspective shapes the next chapter. Your engagement drives the narrative, and your participation turns shocking moments into unforgettable events. Comment, like, share, and subscribe now, and make your mark on the most intense reality drama of the year, because the story is far from over, and the next revelation could change everything you thought you knew. Fans from around the world are watching, reacting, and analyzing. And now, it's your chance to be part of that global conversation. Every click, every word, and every reaction matters. Be loud, be passionate, and make sure your voice is heard. You are part of this drama now, and the next chapter won't wait.